11, and we're going to start the next presentation. So hello everyone, and welcome to Trust No Format. I am Octavian, and with my colleague and friend Denis, we'll explore how something as simple as model files can become an attack surface. So the title is literal, and every file format carries assumptions, shortcuts, and trust boundaries that attackers love to cross. And if you remember one thing from today's presentation, make it this, that a model file is executable input until proven otherwise. Now, raise your hand if you've ever downloaded a model from the internet and just execute it. Exactly. So that tiny moment of trust is where our story will begin today. So I'm Octavian Purcaru, the person you want to have on your side when things go sideways, but you also want to have Denis on your side.
Hello, my name is Denis. I'm a former CTF player, and I also have a few certifications under my belt, like the OSCP and the OSDA. So if you are new to this field, make sure to come to me and I can make you some great recommendations for getting into this field. That's all from me, and I'll get back to my colleague to show you the agenda for today.
So everything we're going to share with you today has the goal to make you rethink the silent trust built into your model stack. So now let's get oriented with the agenda. So here is how we'll break this down. First, we'll talk about serialization methods, what they actually do, and why they matter to you. And then we'll walk you through the core risks and vulnerabilities in Pickle and GGUF. And we'll follow that with some of the vulnerabilities that actually manifest in practice. And we'll finish this with an actionable plan. So this is a simple structure: understand it, see it, and then defend it. All right, let's start with the fundamentals. What are Pickle and GGUF, and what's the difference between them? So serialization is the process of turning live objects into bytes and then back again. So Pickle is the Python native serializer, and it can capture almost anything, like classes, functions, tensors. But as you probably imagine, this flexibility is convenient, but at the same time is also dangerous, because the data becomes code during loading. So that's Pickle. Now GGUF, it's built for large language models. It's efficient, it's binary and metadata rich, but it doesn't execute code like Pickle. But what it stores in metadata can influence the runtime behavior. So we have two formats and two philosophies. One executes on load, and the other one, GGUF, executes, it influences the data during use. So keep this, try to keep this distinction in your mind, because it's the foundation we'll discuss later. Now zooming out a bit, we'll notice that these issues are on the front page. We have the Wiz research that exposed malicious AI models in replicate service, also Databricks and the Hacker News that ran a story on model payloads, injected model payloads that got in Hugging Face. So different stories and basically the same message. Model files have become a serious infection vector. Now the takeaway is quite simple. Protecting AI means protecting the formats that AI uses. So with this context in mind, let's break down exactly where the risks hide. So as I said, Pickle's strength is flexibility, but this is also its downfall because it can serialize anything. So when unpickled, the Python rebuilds the objects by calling the functions and the constructors they define. So the typical risks here are arbitrary code execution in deserialization. And the main takeaway here is to not deserialize data that you did not generate yourself. And also very important, never do it in a privileged environment. Now let's talk about mitigations and now let's talk about mitigations. GGUF shifts the thread model from load time to runtime, as I said earlier, and its danger lies in the metadata that it defines, basically the fields that define how a model interacts with prompts and the chat templates. So if your application loads and renders the metadata directly, especially using template engines like Jinja, which my colleague is going to show later, it will effectively execute the code created by the attacker. So think of it as delayed execution. Pickle attacks happen when you load the file, and GGUF happen when you use it. So I'll let Denis continue.
Okay, so I've chosen two CVEs for today to present. And for the first example, I've chosen a CVE in Invoke AI, which is a known software used for generative AI. I've also attached the source code for you guys to see if you can spot the bug. This bug actually was patched, and then they realized it was still flawed, and you were still able to get RC through it. So the first bug happened because the scanner files was set to false by default. And after this bug was patched pretty quick, there was still a flaw because Pickle Scan didn't actually scan, wasn't actually secure when scanning Pickle files and machine learning models that were imported in Invoke AI. And it introduced new bugs to the loading of malicious Pickle files. A user was able to bypass the can and gain RC through this. As you've previously seen, because the file scan is done using Pickle Scan, we can use torch save to save our model and execute code. This can be exploited by importing some built-in function from NumPy library that wasn't picked up by Pickle Scan, and which indirectly called some dangerous function like exec, which was later used to import the OS library, which you may know that you can use it to run system commands like getting reverse shell. And the attacker can later use to import this type of library and gain RC through this. For our proof of concept, we define our class and the reduce function used by Pickler, which returns either a string or a tuple. We can abuse this with the rank string function from NumPy testing private utils to execute the return string, which won't be picked up by Pickle Scan. For our test, we used curl to see if we can get a callback to our HTTP server. I've also attached a video for the proof of concept where you can see the full exploitation path. Now for the analysis part, we can see that I used a Python script to disassemble the whole Pickle file. And we can see that the main focus is actually on the global and reduced opcodes. The global opcode, the CNumPy testing private utils run string, tells the Python Pickle machine to import the function run string from the module. Next, we observe the bin unicode, import OS system, which is actually our reverse shell command. Then tuple2 builds the tuple of arguments, the embedded command, and an empty dictionary. And reduce actually calls the previous imported run string with those arguments, thus executing the command. With this, we are able to get a callback to our server. Now for the second CV, this is actually a pretty significant CV because it affected Llama CPP not that long ago. As you can see, because the chain of vulnerabilities to be exploited can be actually covered in one screenshot, I'll go over the vulnerability itself. As can be seen, when chat format and the chat handler is none, it goes through to the guess chat format method to try and actually guess the chat format from the metadata. It will then be parsed into Jinja2 chat formatter as parameters to chat handler. Now, for where the vulnerability itself lies. The code instantiates a plain Jinja2 environment without a sandbox, that is the critical part, then renders the attacker control template. Jinja2 compiles this template in the call constructor, allowing RCs or denial of services, since Jinja2's render evaluates embedded codes like eval, enabling arbitrary code execution. For a proof of concept, we are going to abuse this and see if we can get a reverse shell to our VPS. Onto the exploitation part, because the GGUF chat template is read from model metadata and passed to the unsandboxed Jinja2 environment, attacker control template expressions are evaluated at render time. In this configuration, Jinja2 permits attribute reversal and evocation of callables available via the render context, allowing a crafted template to reach Python objects and execute arbitrary code during prompt construction, basically meaning we can remote code execution. I've also attached the proof of concept for this, and in this next slide we'll be delving more in the payload used to gain RC for this command. For the analysis part, I'm going to explain in better thoroughly the functionality of the template. The expression class-based subclasses is actually used to retrieve a list of all subclasses of the object, basic object class, and then we check if it's warning in x.name. Now we'll access its modules via the module attribute and access the methods, built-ins, functions through built-ins. And we'll use the import function from there to import the OS library. And then we'll use the popen function, which is used to execute commands on the system. And we'll use named pipe reverse shell to get our reverse shell to our VPS. To summarize all our examples, we can see that this can seriously affect all of us, especially because it can also happen in big platforms like Hugging Face, whereas although they have strong security because they implement AV scanning for machine learning models when uploading them to the site, there are also platforms which do not implement this, and they might contain backdoors. As you can see in the picture, there are lots of shady models being uploaded to platforms like Hugging Face every day. Make sure to either download them from an official source or dive in depth before you decide to use them. Now I'm going to let my colleague talk about the remediation steps for each of the machine learning models, and that was all from me.
Yeah, so let's close with the defensive side. So for Pickle, please avoid it altogether whenever possible. And if you must use it, I'd say that you should restrict the deserialization to safe objects and safe object types, and to use the, as Denis mentioned, the waits only true in PyTorch. And you should also run the deserialization in a sandbox environment with all the network access restraint and also the rest of the privileges set up, and also to enforce the resource limits. And for GGF, you should probably render templates from a model metadata. I mean, to never do that, but you should also treat the metadata purely as data, and to validate it and use hardened templating at runtime if rendering is absolutely required. And also, you should disable automatic rendering path in production. And across both, please enforce origin checks. These are the most important things that you should do, especially during today's compromises that are in the headlines. You should require signatures for every artifact that enters production and integrate model scanning in your CI, and also make every machine learning engineer understand that model files are basically as sensitive as executable code. So final thought here, you should build systems that fail safely whenever they face malicious artifacts. And that's trust no format. Thank you. Now, if you have questions, guys. Yeah, please.
I was curious about how to enforce those.
Yeah, to answer this question, you should have conversations periodically with the developers that use these models. And as you imagine, the attacks now evolve super fast, so you have these periodic checks. You should also have, as I mentioned earlier, the checks inside your pipeline in the CI/CD pipelines. So yeah, you should have periodic conversations. Now, Denis, want to say something else here?
No, I think my colleague mentioned almost everything. If you guys have any other questions. If not, I would also like to add the thing that there are lots of CTF challenges that cover Pickle deserialization, and I think they're very, very interesting ones, where you have to bypass different types of limitations about the functions that you can use to get to call the reduce function and actually gain RC on different machines, like hack the box machines or challenges and stuff. So if you're interested, I can give you some recommendations on that as well. If not, that was all from us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Please reach out to us if you have other questions. We are happy to take them. Thank you.